We could run away. Let's lose our minds. We could go crazy and leave it all behind.
Hello zebras, how's it going? Welcome back to my channel. I hope you guys have had a wonderful week. I know I look a little bit different today. I've actually made an effort, which is very rare because 1, I'm too tired, and 2, I just can't be bothered, and 3, Taylor Swift is back on the music scene and I love Taylor Swift, so I think I'm harnessing my inner Taylor Swift. I've got that red lip classic thing you like. Today I'm going to be doing a tag video. Now, normally I wouldn't do a tag video because I think they're cringy. I mean, allow 2014 Becky to demonstrate. I don't drink tea. Never? No, never. Guys, I'm really not sure about this. Pretty terrible, right? But this one caught my attention. I watched the video of a young lady called Sophie Matt. I'm really sorry if I pronounce your name wrong, but I watched her video and she has EDS and POTS. And she did a tag video. I don't know if this is her tag that originated from her or whether she found it from someone else, but this is where I saw it, and it was a list of questions about chronic illnesses. I thought it would be really insightful for me to answer these questions because for some people who are new to the channel, they might not know who I am, they might not know all about my chronic illness, and I guess this would be the video to link them to because this will answer all the questions. I said in my last video that I would like to do a Q&A with you guys. This is completely separate from this video, so if you do have questions for me, I still would love to answer them. So let's get into it. The illness I live with is EDS and POTS and gastric dumping. I also used to have epilepsy, had being the important word here. So I haven't had a seizure in about 4 years. 2, I was diagnosed with it in the year 2017. So I am a fairly new zebra, but I have been displaying symptoms for about 6 years, severely for 3 years. Yeah, that's right. Using a wheelchair, learning to use a wheelchair is easier than I thought it was going to be, but the judgment from people sometimes when you go out in a wheelchair is the thing that I've really had to accept. People step in front of my wheelchair, which is really annoying because it has wheels, and you wouldn't do that if it was a bike, would you? Sometimes if I do go out in my wheelchair, I will get glances like, oh, okay, yeah, I'm in a wheelchair, like that makes me happy. This is good. This is improving my life. Most people assume that I am a drug seeker. I only really tend to get this with actual A&E staff. I have been in A&E a couple of times where I've overheard nurses talking, or I've had a nurse be really, really nice, and then after like a certain amount of time they think that I'm just seeking drugs, and then their whole persona changes, which isn't very nice. A lot of doctors I've seen as well told me that it was like either in my head or that they couldn't find a problem. A lot of people assumed before I got my diagnosis that I was just making it up. Getting up. Getting up, getting out of bed. Yeah, some days I can tell if it's going to be a good day by how I wake up. If I wake up and I feel terrible and can't get out of bed, then that day is not going to go great. So sometimes the hardest thing about getting up in the morning is getting up. TV show is House. I love House so much.
You stash your drugs in a lupus textbook. It's never lupus.
I'm a little disappointed because their episode that they did on EDS wasn't great, but I love House so much, and they've removed it from Netflix, which makes me really, really sad. And if you haven't seen it, you need to watch it. It's the best. Obviously House is fictional, but I also really, really love 24 Hours in A&E, which is set in King's Hospital in London. I really, really love it. I've definitely got a weak spot for 24 Hours in A&E. So I think this is really difficult I don't know if there's anything I couldn't live without. I really like my iPad. I got it fairly recently when I went traveling, and I use it more than I use all my laptops and stuff nowadays, just because it's so portable. And if I'm in bed and I have my laptop on my legs, it gets too heavy and it's painful. So my iPad is really lightweight and I can use it for videos like this. So probably my iPad, but I could live without it. Getting to sleep, I find it quite hard to get to sleep sometimes. EDS patients often suffer with insomnia and waking up in the night. I have a Fitbit now to keep track of my health and stuff, and it tells me my sleep schedule and it shows me how many times I woke up in the night, and you better believe that bad boy is littered with little awake spikes. Totally depends on how I'm feeling, because I have medications where I can take them as and when, like my sickness. Or it's hard to put a number on it because it varies. If I have a good day, I could take like nothing. On a bad day, I take a lot. So it varies. It varies. I love it. I have been doing Pilates, which I love so much. I have to improve my core because I struggle to hold my top half of my body up. I'm not very strong, and also I don't want to lose any weakness anyway, because when you get a wheelchair your legs can waste more because you're not using them as much. So Pilates, I love Pilates. I'm open to alternative treatments because for me, Western medicine hasn't really helped with my pain, so I'm open to like CBT, cognitive behavioural therapy, I think, yeah. And I also, like I said, I use CBD oil, which is a derivative of cannabis, and it's legal, so please don't start disliking this video. It's legal. Please, I'm open to it. I would choose an invisible illness because I get to do this and I get to help people. I get to make videos to help make our invisible visible. That's one of the taglines for EDS UK, who I raised a lot of money for recently. Let's make the invisible visible. I also, like I said, I find that with the visible aspects of my illness, being in a wheelchair, people can, I don't know, the looks you get from some people sometimes with the trying to pity you, and I don't need to be pitied. Like I live a fulfilling life. I have a really strong work ethic. I didn't before I first got a job. I was very nervous and timid, and I didn't like conversing with people, and that made getting my first job very difficult. But since I've had a job, I haven't let my illness stop me working. At the minute, I find it very difficult because I do some evenings like bar work, and I suffer with my legs, obviously. Just because I'm in a wheelchair doesn't mean that I can't use my legs. I can use my legs. That's a common misconception. It's difficult for me to work behind a bar, so I'm looking for other avenues. My degree that I got is in fine arts. So I want to be a graphic designer. I've been doing some freelancing, which works really, really well with my illness because I can do that from the comfort of my own bed, which is fantastic. But I am not going to let my illness stop me from doing what I want to do and earning money. Just how many things EDS affects. It's insane how many things that this illness can affect, because I guess collagen it makes up your entire body. It's the glue that holds your body together, so it affects so many different things. It affects my gastrointestinal tract, it affects what I can and can't eat, it affects things that I can and can't do because I have to be wary of like maybe dislocating things or subluxing things. It affects my joints. It could affect my eyes. I think my hearing isn't fantastic. I haven't had it checked, but I probably should. My heart with POTS as well. It affects so many different things, and I didn't realise that when I first started researching EDS. I didn't realise just how much it impacts your life and your body. I think having to give up things that I enjoy or love. When I was younger, I would go on long bike rides with my friends, and I would walk really far distances and things like that. You know, I took things for granted. And I think it's been hard to accept that life is never going to quite go back to how it was before. But at the same time, I'm doing my best to make the best of this situation. And out of this situation, I would like to help as many people as possible by raising money, by supporting people, by a secret project. There's a lot of good to come from what has happened. I didn't realise that my illness was the cause of all my hypermobility. So things like this, I didn't realise this wasn't normal. So I guess that sort of answers that question. You know, I haven't really seen any commercials about my illness because it's quite a rare illness. It's, like I said, I watch House, and sometimes they'll do episodes in certain series and they never do it justice, which is sad. So I feel like sometimes it's misrepresented, but at the same time, I'm glad that it's being represented at all, because it gets people talking and researching, and then they can do their proper research and find out just about that, properly about that illness. I don't know, I think I would say just walking for longer periods of time. I have to be super wary now about if I'm going out with friends into like a town centre. I have to make sure that I've got all my medications with me. I've got less freedom with it in a sense, and I can't walk as far as I used to be able to, and I can't endure longer periods of time of being on my feet. So I guess I miss that to some aspect, but I have a wheelchair now, so if I want to go out for longer periods of time, I can just take that. So it doesn't impair my life too much that I can't do those things anymore. I just have to be sensible about how I do those things. Pizza and ice cream. I can't eat gluten. That's been a thing for about 2 years. And recently I've been told to cut sugar out of my diet, and full fat ice cream is my weakness and I can't eat it. But if you watch my last video, I found an alternative ice cream which is almost as good. So if you'd like to hear about that, go and check that video out. Is this you guys, YouTube, making videos? I've always made videos from about 16, and it's really cringy. Like, you won't find those videos on the internet because they're all private, and they're on not my other channel but a channel before that, and you guys won't find them. Yeah, so I've always enjoyed making videos and things like that, but since being diagnosed, this is my hobby and I enjoy it, and I enjoy making videos, and I enjoy thinking of ideas to make for videos. So this is the hobby and I love it. It's great. If I could have one day of feeling normal again, I would probably go running. I would run really far. I would run a race, like a really long race. Or I would go and eat a massive pizza and ice cream and all those things. But okay, angle change. So like a huge numpty, my camera died, so here we are, different angle change. Get well soon. Yeah, it's terrible because people have good intentions when they say it, but I'm not going to get better soon, and that's the sad reality of it. But I think the thing that I dislike worse is when I get asked, on a scale of 1 to 10, how bad is your pain? I really don't like that question. I love it. I love it when people ask questions about my illness, because I feel like I have an opportunity to educate them on my illness, and they might want to go away and make their own research, and I think that's really great because It's spreading awareness, and you know, that's one more person who's gone away hearing about my illness, and that's one more person closer to finding a cure. Not specifically for my generation, but for generations in the future, there is more chance of finding a cure for them, and less people will have to suffer. Is this too shall pass. I think it can be sad in one aspect because it can apply to good times, like this too shall pass, so soak it up, girl, like enjoy it. But at the same time, this too shall pass with like pain. It's hard to think of that when you're actually having a really bad flare or you're like in agony. But it doesn't necessarily get better, but you learn to adapt. Yeah, I don't like it when people say it's going to get better, because it's not necessarily going to get better. And in my case, it's only gotten worse in some aspects. So I don't want people to have false hope that things are going to get better and you're going to go back to your original life, because that's not always realistic. But you will find that you will learn to cope, and you'll learn to accept that this is the way things are. You find a different sense of yourself at the same time, and you learn to be strong and resilient and brave. And I think those are qualities that are worth having. How much pain one human being can cope with, because just when you think it can't get more painful, it always surprises you. And I think the human body is a fascinating thing, because people can go through such severe pain and come out the other side of it and be a stronger human being. People have done many nice things for me when I haven't felt well, and it's hard to say who is the nicest. Even small acts of kindness. I had a co-worker cover for me a few days ago, and I felt really bad because I actually think he wanted to go to an event, and he didn't even like falter to say no. He agreed straight away, and then he messaged me to check that I was alright. So I thought that was, you know, sometimes my boyfriend will put my pajamas on for me because I can't do it because I'm in pain. Like, I think it's hard to pinpoint one. I don't know if this is Invisible Illness Week, but for me, every week is Invisible Illness Week, and I think it's really important for people to talk about invisible illnesses. People need to accept that just because you can't see it on the outside doesn't mean that on the inside someone isn't suffering. The fact that you have watched this video makes me feel incredibly grateful. So grateful that you guys watch my content, that you like my content, which since I started posting videos on this channel, you guys have been nothing but supportive. I haven't had any horrible negative comments. I'm sure they're coming. I feel so grateful that this little community that we have right here is growing, and that people want to hear what I have to say, and I enjoy hearing your stories. People feel connections with people because they have shared similar experiences, and reading your experiences, I see myself in you guys, and I would like to think that you see yourself in me. And if I can offer anything that might help you guys on your own journey, then this is totally worthwhile. And that sums it up for the questions. I guess it's standard protocol at the end of a tag video to tag someone to continue this chain and do these questions, but I'm just going to tag all of you guys because I want to hear your stories. If you don't feel comfortable posting a video about it, I will drop all the questions down in the description box, and you could comment them in the comment section if you feel like. I would love to hear how you cope with your invisible illness or your chronic illness video. So if you have just joined us, thank you for joining us. Hit the little subscribe button and join the zebra fam. We are a dazzle, that is what they call a group of zebras. So come join the dazzles, and it will keep you up to date when I post videos, which is every Wednesday at 6 PM. So I guess until next Wednesday, I'll see you guys in the next one, and I hope you guys have a wonderful week. Bye!
We could run away. You and me together, baby, we don't gotta stay.